Hey everyone, my name is P.J. I'm an Academy Trainer with the Outward Bound Training Academy. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm coming from the unceded ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations, what is known today by some as Vancouver, British Columbia. In this region, we see a lot of wet weather, whether that be rain or snow, and today we're going to talk about what materials we might want to take with us on an adventure and some of the materials we might leave at home. You might have heard the term cotton kills, and we're not saying that cotton's actually like a dangerous material, it's not poison and nothing like that, but what happens is it's not really great at keeping us warm when we're out there and we start to get wet. So when we're looking at cotton, what I like to think about is it's really great for our everyday use, but the problem with it is cotton doesn't keep its loft when it gets wet. If we think about certain materials like a wool, even when wool gets wet, it still has some squishiness to it. Or if you think about your puffy vest or, puffy jacket, that's got a lot of loft, and that's really what's keeping us warm. So when we have some sort of loft, if we look at a cotton ball, for example, that loft is what would be keeping us warm and dry. So if I made a t-shirt out of full cotton balls, I'd be really warm. It's gonna warm up the air that's in between the fibers, and that's actually what's keeping us warm. But the problem with a cotton ball is when a cotton ball or a cotton t-shirt gets wet, it condenses and it doesn't puff back up. So we don't get to have that loft and we don't have that air space to warm up. So if I sink this cotton ball into water, let it soak up a little bit of that water, and then pull it out, we've already lost that loft. So even if I wring out some of that water, like we'd wring out our shirt if we were in a rainstorm, it's now flat and hard. And that's not going to allow us to actually have that air space that we would heat up and keep warm. So when I'm looking at what kind of materials I would want to take out when I'm going on an adventure, I'm probably going to look for something more of a synthetic fill. You might see something that says polyester or something like that. Some sort of fill that's not down. It doesn't pack down as small, but it's going to stay dry even when it gets wet. All right, so we're going to look at a little experiment here to see how much water is held into a cotton shirt versus a merino wool shirt. So think about it as we're going out on a hike or a paddle and we got caught out in some rain and we weren't wearing our rain gear. And how much water is actually going to be held and how heavy and wet that cotton shirt is compared to how little water is actually held in a merino wool shirt, and it'll be a lot less water to dry out and keep us a lot warmer as well. So if I take my cotton shirt, we put it in here and we're going to weigh it as dry down to 0 grams. Now I'm going out, I get caught in the rain, I get caught in the water, something like that, and my cotton shirt gets soaked. Now, like I would do if I was actually caught out there, I would take my shirt off and I'd try and wring out some of that excess water. And then we're going to look and see how much water is actually held in that cotton shirt. Right now we're looking at about 576 grams of water that is held in that cotton. So now that compared to taking a merino wool shirt out. So same thing, I'm out hiking, that sort of thing. I wear a merino wool instead of a cotton. I'm gonna zero that off. I get caught out in the rain again. My clothes get soaked. Same thing, I take it off. I wring out some of that excess water. We're looking at 170 grams of water. So a significantly amount less of water is held in our merino wool shirts versus our cotton shirts. Now that we've looked at all the different materials that we can take in the outdoors with us, we have an idea of the materials like cottons and denims that we might want to leave at home and keep for our everyday lives, and the materials like synthetics and polyesters, our merino wools, our wool sweaters, all those different ones that actually work a lot better to keep us warm even when we get wet. In this next part, we're going to look at how we actually layer all of those materials together to get the best and most comfortable system when we travel in the outdoors.